The question, was Rey at Luke Skywalker's Jedi Academy, has been answered, and today we will be breaking it down and explaining how this changes everything. This information comes from the canon Star Wars novel Bloodline, which follows Leia as she attempts to bring order to the Senate. The novel takes place 6 years before The Force Awakens, and gives us some much needed insight into the state of our characters at the time, where they are, and perhaps more importantly, where they aren't. For a long time, there was a popular theory suggesting Rey was actually once a student at Luke's Jedi Academy, and while this is not completely ruled out, we definitely know she was not there at the time of Ben Solo's turn to the dark side and transformation into Kylo Ren. So how do we know this? Well, as stated earlier, the novel takes place 6 years before The Force Awakens, which would make Rey roughly 13 years old at the time. We know this because Rey was born approximately 11 years after Return of the Jedi, and Kylo would be around 23 or 24 as he was born pretty soon following the events of that film. It is mentioned in the book that currently Ben is training under Luke at his academy. Although it is left unclear whether or not Ben is Luke's main apprentice, it is clear he is training with him. The location of the Jedi Academy is also a mystery even to Leia and Han, which, as discussed in previous videos, is likely to protect them. So how do we know Rey is not at the Jedi Academy during this time? Well, the obvious reason is because she is not mentioned in any regard in the novel, and because based off of her very own Force vision in The Force Awakens, she was a much younger child when she was left on Jakku than 13. The actress that actually portrayed young Rey in the vision was 8 years old at the time, which does give us some pretty solid indication she was left on Jakku far before she turned 13. With this being said though, there are a ton of perplexing moments throughout the Force Awakens film and novelization that have honestly left me quite puzzled. Characters in the film like Han seem to not know her, but when questioned by Maz, who asks, "Who's the girl?" the scene then abruptly cuts away, hinting he may know something we don't. Also, scenes like with Leia hugging Rey after the battle on the Starkiller base, with to the audience's knowledge, they have never even met before. Now, this particular moment could be chalked up to them both knowing Han and making some connection together following his death, but it is never made clear. As a side note though, J.J. Abrams said in an interview that his biggest regret in the film is that he did not have Leia hug Chewbacca and instead chose to have her hug Rey, and that if he could change it, he would. There are also some really interesting moments with Kylo involving Rey. First, when he gets extremely concerned at the mention of a girl on Jakku with the First Order officer, becoming extremely enraged at the mention of her. And by far the most insane piece of evidence that in the Force Awakens novelization, Kylo actually says, "It is you," to Rey. As to what all of this means, I am not sure of yet, but it seems as though the Solo family may know Rey, and yet she doesn't seem to recognize any of them. If any characters know for sure who Rey is though, it seems to be Kylo and likely Luke, but after Bloodline, we know she's not present during their training and is not at the Academy. The whole Rey situation is like a gigantic puzzle, and we seem to be missing two big pieces with the rest being pretty well filled in. Those pieces being, what was the state of the galaxy 11 years after the Battle of Endor when Rey was born, and what was the state of the galaxy 19 years after the Battle of Endor when she was left on Jakku? Also, importantly, where were the Skywalker family and what task were they up to at the time? When we have these remaining pieces, the answer should reveal itself. It is also a possibility though that we will never receive expanded works during this time and that all will be revealed in episode 8. However, there have been reports that Rey's parentage will remain a mystery until the final installment in the trilogy, with more major hints dropped throughout episode 8 and in expanded works following the release of that film. So tell me down below, who do you think Rey is, and have your theories changed after reading Bloodline or watching the video? Why do all these characters seem to know Rey, but at the same time almost appear unsure? Could Rey be a dark secret hidden away by the Skywalkers? Thank you as always so much for watching. Leave down below all theories, and feel free to suggest future videos. May the Force be with you, and have a great day.